think of the metal genre, we think of rebellion, brutality, and anything unconventional. Although most people think it's just an image that bands want to project, for some bands, it's a reality. Some artists have unfortunately crossed the line from artistic expression to real-life criminal activities. A few artists have been involved in shocking and heinous acts that go beyond the stage. Who are these artists who have taken their metal branding too far? Ronnie Radke escaped the fate, falling in reverse. Ronnie Radke was on top of the world, being the frontman for the band Escape the Fate. They were starting to see success with their first album. However, his rise to fame took a turn for the worst in 2006, when Ronnie became entangled in a tragic incident. During an altercation in 2006, the frontman was involved in a situation that resulted in the fatal shooting of 18-year-old Michael Cook, and one other badly injured. Following this incident, Ronnie faced charges of battery and was placed on probation. However, his failure to adhere to the terms of his probation, along with other legal issues and his history with drugs, led to his arrest in 2008, and he was on the run for 3 months. In an interview with Las Vegas Weekly, Escape the Fate co-founder Max Green said about Ronnie, "Ultimately, I think jail's the best place for him where he's at right now." Ronnie was eventually kicked out from the band, and while he was in prison, he formed a new band, making contact with various musicians on the outside. That band is now what we know as Falling in Reverse. After facing 2.5 years of prison, Ronnie Radke has made his way back to the scene. Although he faced a lot of controversies, he's still one of the most recognized faces in metal. Michael Todd, Coheed and Cambria. In 2011, Michael Todd's time as bassist with Coheed and Cambria came to an abrupt and unfortunate end. Michael was arrested in July 2011 and sentenced to 1 year's home confinement and 3 years probation after pleading guilty to armed robbery. All of this was over an accusation that he had entered a pharmacy in Massachusetts and displayed a note to the pharmacist claiming he had a bomb and demanded prescription painkiller Oxycontin. He was given 6 bottles of painkiller. After the incident, he was seen by a passerby getting into a cab, which people later found out was bound to Comcast Center, where Coheed and Cambria were supposed to open for Soundgarden that night. Coheed and Cambria didn't wait long to take things to their website to address the issue, saying, "Michael Todd was arrested today on what we consider very serious charges, and therefore he will not be finishing up the current tour." The band has since replaced Michael with bassist Zach Cooper. Pat O'Brien, Cannibal Corpse. Metal has seen its fair share of crimes, but some are more bizarre than others. That's exactly what it was like when people found out about Cannibal Corpse's Pat O'Brien. In 2018, the guitarist for the iconic death metal band became the center of a highly unusual and alarming incident. He was arrested for burglary and assault, which led people to speculate about the state of his mental health. What's bizarre is that Pat allegedly entered a neighbor's home in Florida, shoving her to the floor. While this was happening, Pat's own rented home was burning down. The incident was unfolded when authorities responded to a fire at Pat's residence. According to a Consequence report, Pat shouted, "The rapture's coming," when he broke into his neighbor's house. He was eventually subdued with a stun gun after attempting to charge the deputy officer with a knife. A search after the incident revealed that his home had more than 80 firearms, some flamethrowers, and 3 skulls. Pat was released not long after his arrest, after he posted the $50,000 surety bond. Gal Gorgoroth. Another bizarre incident in metal history is from Gorgoroth's frontman Gal. Amidst the booming black metal scene, Gal's legal troubles came to the forefront in 2005. The vocalist faced charges related to an incident that occurred in his home involving allegations of assault and torture. The details were as dark and unsettling as the music he helped create with Gorgoroth. He was sentenced to 14 months in prison for beating a 41-year-old man and threatening to drink his blood. According to victim testimony, Gal apparently collected his blood in a cup and told him, "I'm going to sacrifice you. I'm going to drink your blood." Gal's defense that he was doing it in self-defense and that he used the cup to stop the blood from staining the carpet. According to reports, the frontman attended his trial dressed in all black and decorated with satanic symbols. The choice of outfit definitely didn't help him. A year later, he served another 9 months and was fined for torturing another man for 6 hours. Tim Lambesis, As I Lay Dying. One of the most well-known crime cases in metal is definitely the case of As I Lay Dying's Tim Lambesis. The frontman was sentenced to 6 years in prison for conspiring to kill his then-wife. The shocking nature of Tim's actions sent shockwaves through the metal community, as it was far from what fans had known of him through his music. Tim and his ex-wife had already separated them. According to Tim, his wife restricted him from seeing their 3 adopted children, and he wasn't pleased with the amount of money his ex-wife would get in the settlement. After telling a man at his gym twice about wanting to kill his wife, he met an undercover detective. He handed the detective photographs of his wife, security codes for her house, as well as a $1,000 payment for the deed. In 2017, Tim Lambesis was eventually released from prison. When asked about the incident, he said, "There's really no defense. I lost myself, I lost my way, and I sat there in a cell being like, how did I become this person?" Sid Vicious, Sex Pistols. Although many people believe that it wasn't really Sid Vicious, he was arrested in 1978 after being charged with second-degree murder for his girlfriend, famous groupie Nancy Spungen. What happened was that Sid Vicious, bass player for the Sex Pistols, woke up on the floor of his hotel room on October 12, 1978. His girlfriend Nancy was already dead on the bathroom floor of a single stab wound to the abdomen. The knife that killed Nancy was Sid's, although according to him, he didn't remember the incident at all or that he stabbed Nancy without any intent to kill her. He was eventually released on bail, but was put back to prison after assaulting Patti Smith's brother, Todd Smith. To this day, a lot of people, including law enforcement officials, believe that Nancy's murder might have been a burglary. Carl Logan, Man-O-War. Ex-Man-O-War guitarist Carl Logan is one of the people who engaged in some of the most vile crimes in metal scene. In August 2018, Logan's life took a drastic turn when he was arrested and charged with possessing child pornography. The charges against Carl included accusations of possessing explicit materials featuring minors, a deeply troubling and despicable offense. Carl was arrested in Charlotte in August 2018 after authorities learned he had downloaded child pornography. He initially pleaded not guilty, but in July 2020, he entered a plea agreement with prosecutors affirming that he did download child pornography. Aside from receiving a 5.5-year sentence, Carl's also ordered to pay a $10,000 fine. Upon release, he'll be on supervised release for the rest of his life. After Carl's arrest in 2018, Man-O-War announced he would not be involved in any future plans that the band would have. He was replaced by E.V. Martel. Varg Vikernes, Mayhem, Burzum. Varg Vikernes, the controversial figure behind the one-man black metal project Burzum and a former member of Mayhem, is entangled in one of the most infamous chapters in the history of metal. In August 1993, Varg traveled from Bergen to Oslo, Norway to meet Mayhem guitarist Euronymous. What happened that night would become the most discussed and debated crime in the history of black metal. A confrontation happened in the apartment of Euronymous, resulting in Varg brutally murdering him by stabbing him a total of 23 times. There have been discussions about the real nature of the crime. Some said it was a power struggle, a fight over a girl's love, or a dispute over a record contract. But according to Varg himself, he was acting in self-defense. He said that Euronymous was planning to kill him, and he was just defending himself. Varg Vikernes was sentenced to 21 years in prison, which is the maximum sentence in Norway. Once the verdict was said, he reacted with a devious grin, which has now become iconic within the industry. Ian Watkins, Lost Prophets. Ian Watkins, the former lead vocalist of the Welsh rock band Lost Prophets, became infamous for engaging in one of the most shocking and horrifying crimes in the history of music. In December 2013, the frontman was arrested and later convicted on a series of child sex offenses, including the attempted rape of a baby. The details that emerged during the trial were both disturbing and deeply unsettling. According to reports, Ian had used his position as a musician to exploit fans and manipulate them into participating in his heinous acts. His arrest led to the disbandment of Lost Prophets as the other members distanced themselves from the disgraced frontman. Ian Watkins was sentenced to 29 years in prison, but he'll be eligible for parole after serving 2/3 of the prison term. While he was waiting for sentencing, he was recorded by prison officials saying the whole thing was mega LOLs during a telephone call to a friend. In 2014, he appeared to lower his sentence because he said that it was too high, but he was refused. On August 2023, while in the 10th year of his 29-year sentence, Ian was taken hostage and stabbed by 3 other inmates. His injuries weren't life-threatening, according to police reports. These cases serve as a reminder that sometimes the dark and brutal images that metal bands portray aren't mere projections. They can be a reflection of the lives some artists lead. Metal, at its core, is an outlet for expression and individualism. Yet these cases show the importance of distinguishing between artistic expression and the actions of the individuals behind the music. As the metal community continues to evolve, it's important to prioritize accountability and a commitment to ensuring that the music we cherish is not overshadowed by the misdeeds of those who create it.